Hello, this is Hank Friedman of soulhealing.com. My website has reviews of all the major programs, comparison articles, a weekly weblog on the latest news on astrology software, and much more. Today I'd like to look at the most powerful page designer in astrology software, the page designer in SolarFire Gold. It has many features, including drag and drop, making it easy to resize, a huge number of objects you can place on a page, and much more. If we start in SolarFire Gold, to get to the page designer we go to Utilities, and we go down to the fourth from the bottom which says Page Designer, and the Page Designer window opens up. In order to work side by side, however, I'm going to move it to the right so I can see my SolarFire Gold screen and my Page Designer screen side by side. But when you want to work yourself, you may use the full screen because it's easier to see everything. The Page Designer has a file menu. You can create a new file, you can open a file, you can save a file, you can edit a page description. So let's say new file, because we're going to create a new one. Okay? And we want to give it a description, so we click on the top here and we say, let's say, Hank's new bi-wheel. And let's save it with that name too. Save. Hank's new bi-wheel. Okay, so now we have it named, the same name at the top and the name it's saved. What a page designer is for is designing pages for your screen and designing pages for your printer that you can use in your astrological work. You can add a lot of different kinds of objects. If we look under Object menu, you can add a new object, you can change its order, move it to the front or back, like a background graphic for instance, position it at the left, in the center, at the right, at the top, at the bottom, align it, which means aligning two objects so they have so that they're aligned on the left, aligned on the right, whatever. It's very nice. And delete any object you create that you want to remove. If you click Add New Object, you can see there's a huge list of objects. Just amazing. Captions, chart wheels, aspect grids, all different tables for planets, all different tables for signs, all different tables for houses, all different tables and graphics actually for aspects, dignities and ancient information, balances like how much fire, earth, air, water, and so on, and graphical elements, different kinds of graphs and Vedic charts. Okay? Let's cancel that for a moment while I show you the rest of the features. You can also create different page sizes, a page size for your printer, a page size for your laptop screen, a page size for your desktop screen, and these can be very useful too. However, let me suggest that you design your page with one size first and then add a new page size, let's say for your printer, because then it will take all the elements you've already added to the screen image and place them on the printer page size so that you don't have to enter them all over again. I decided I wanted to create a new page. A page with two bi-wheels with certain features to each. So I go down to Chart Wheels and I click on bi-wheel and then I click on Insert. And here we have a bi-wheel. Notice a few things about the bi-wheel. There are squares, red squares at the top, left, bottom, and right. And there's a crosshair in the middle. When any object has red squares bracketing it, you know that's the object that's being focused on right now. And the information about the object shows up here on the top right. This is where you enter values. like what kind of wheels you want the object to have, what points you want in the object, what aspects you want to use for it. Okay? So let's first of all notice drag. I can drag this anywhere on the page. So let's drag it to the top left, and let's make it a little bigger. Okay? Maybe even a tiny bit bigger. Now, one thing you will like about Solar Fire is you can control it that way, but if you want to get more precise, you can adjust the width or the height or the position anchor X, which is left right, or the position top bottom, which is anchor Y, by hundredths of an inch. So you can precisely control the width, the height, and so on. Notice you can also control which chart is in the outer ring, that's chart 1, and which chart is on the inner ring, that's chart 2. You can also specify what type of chart wheel you want, what points file you want for the chart 1, and what points file you want for part 2. For instance, if this were a bi-wheel I was going to use for transits, I might want, for instance, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto for my major transits as point 1 file, and then all the natal planets for point 2. And the aspects file allows you to choose what aspect set you want the wheel to do. Let's do that first, actually. I'm going to go to aspect file, and you see this caret over here. You press it, and it pops up a list of all the aspects. So I'm going to scroll down, because I know what I want, and choose hard. So now the aspect set that's going to be used here is the hard aspect set. Solar Fire allows you to create any number of aspects you want with any orbs. It's unbelievably versatile. You can even create as many of your own aspects as you want, in addition to traditional ones. Now let's go to wheel file, because I want to choose my bi-wheel. One thing very nice is that there's lots and lots of choices again, and I go down to bi-wheel 1, which everyone has. Okay, so there's the bi-wheel. Now, I don't want to adjust the points, so this is everything I want to adjust in this wheel. Again, I'm saying when you want to put more than one of the same object on a page, make the first one exactly the way you want it, and then go to Object and create a copy of the object. There it is. It puts the copy right over the original, so you might not have noticed it was there. But there, now we have two bi-wheels side by side, 1 and 2. Now, having two bi-wheels that are identical on the page doesn't do us much good. So let's change it, mix it up a little, and make this bi-wheel, which is highlighted, 2 to 1 instead of 1 to 2, meaning let's have the second person's chart in the outer ring in this one. So go to chart 1 up here, and we change it to chart 2. And then we go to chart 2 up here, and we change it to chart 1. And let's save this. And now let's look at it. What do you mean look at it? Let's look at what it's actually going to look like in Solar Fire. So go to View, and since we haven't opened this one yet, we would go to Page Topic Index. And there it is, under Added Recently, Hank's new bi-wheel. And we click OK. We select the two people we want in the chart, and click View, and there it is. Okay? This makes it very easy to see person A around person B and person B around person A. You see that? But of course we don't know who person B and person A are, so we're going to have to add labels. But the first thing I notice is this isn't the bi-wheel I want, because I want aspect lines in the middle. So I need to choose a different wheel style. You see where there's a wheel style button right there? And notice this will show me a preview of various wheels. So aspect wheel 1, aspect wheel 2, aspect wheel 3, aspect wheel 4. And I can go down the listing until I find one that I particularly like, that has the aspect lines in the middle, and that's one I like. It's one I designed myself. So I'm going to select that. Okay? But actually, one thing I needed to do was pay attention to what the name of that one was. And so let's go back and down again to that so I remember what the name of it is, so I can add it to my page designer. Okay? Let's see. That's what I want, with fewer rings, clearer. So it's labeled by Hank3.wh2. Okay, by Hank3. So I quit this and I go over here and I change the wheel style to by Hank3. I'll scroll down, by Hank3.wh2. There it is. Now I have to remember to do it for the other wheel too. Okay? By Hank3.wh2. Now both of the wheels are what I want them to be. I'll save it again. And now let's take a look. Now it'll be number 1 in the list of most recently looked at pages. SolarFire nicely shows you the 8 most recently viewed pages to make it easy to access them. I'll choose the 2 people again, click View, and there we go. Now this may not look that big, but if I make it full screen, it's plenty big. It's just that it was only on one side, which made it look small. However, as I said, we have a problem. We don't know who's who. And we also notice these 2 are colliding a little, so we might want to make them a tiny bit smaller. Okay? Let's quit, and let's make them a tiny bit smaller. We go here, and we say height, and let's make it 0.8 instead of 0.825, and that made it a little smaller. And let's do that over here too. Change this one from 825 to 8 and hit enter. Now it's a little smaller and they're probably not going to crash into each other. That showed you how to use that part. And click Save again. Let's add labels. Object, add new object. We can say we want the person's name, because we're going to want both people's names. Chart name, a single line containing the chart name. Let's drag it over here, and let me show you how to configure the chart name. Now first of all, I know I'm going to want a bigger font, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Okay, let's say that size. I also don't want a frame, so I go up and change that to frames type 0 instead of a little box around it. Okay? Now it's the way I want it. Now I'm going to copy it. Create a copy of the object. Okay? And put it over here. Actually, I'm going to move it down a little since it's going to be the second chart, the inner chart here. Now I'm going to create another copy, but this time I want it for chart 2. So I go over here where it says chart 1 and change it to chart 2. Okay? So now we have chart 1 and chart 2, and it'll make it easier to see that which is around which. Let's do one more copy. Create a copy of the object and put that over here. Okay? So now we have both of those. Now let's say we want to line them up. Here it's pretty easy because they're on the edge. Here it's not. So I go Object, Align. We want the lefts to align. Click on an object to align with it. Okay, let's click that. Click that. Oh, it did. It lined it up now. Great. Now they're perfectly lined up. Now let's put the word around in between these so that they know it's person A around person B. We'll add a new object. This is an unusual one. Add a user caption line. Click Insert. We have to tell what the caption is. So we enter the caption by clicking on User Caption here, and the word I want is AROUND, and I hit Enter to make sure it's registered. And then I take this object. Oops, no. We take this object. We have to click on it till it highlights. Just a second. There it is. Oops, let's do that again. Sometimes it's hard, unless you use full screen, to click on an object. Okay, so if you have trouble doing that, just do that. Okay, let's move that back up, and let's make a copy of it. And move it over here. Let's see how this looks. So go File, View, and let's take a look. We'll choose the 2 people again. 1, 2, and click View. Now, I don't have to do that every time. I can move that chart over to the right. But it's nice to see it full screen to see if the labels are good. And the labels look okay. They're not great. I can move things around to make it look better. I might use a center alignment instead, centered horizontally. But we can see we have Jennifer Aniston's chart around Brad Pitt's, and Brad Pitt's chart around Jennifer Aniston's. Okay? Let's move that over here so we don't have to keep opening it. Now let's add one more trick, which is I don't want to show the same aspect set for both. For the other one, I want to change the aspect file to easy rather, and save the file. And then I'm going to click redraw, and now we see something very, very interesting. It's really easy to eyeball how much challenge there is between their two charts versus how much harmony. And guess who wins? It's no wonder they got divorced, because there's so much more challenging lines than there are harmonious lines between the two charts. In addition, Solar Fire Gold has the unique ability to make the separating lines dashed, which in this case I don't know that we need that, but more importantly, the ability to make the thicker lines thicker if the orbs are tighter, so we can see which are the strongest harmonies, which are the strongest tensions, which are the weakest harmonies, which are the weakest tensions. And voila, it's a very, very useful comparison form. I've given you an idea of how to work with Solar Fire Gold's Page Designer. I hope it's helpful. Bye-bye.